Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. So basically, this video is going to be addressing the Arkhamverse and where we stand, regarding the video games, because effectively, it seems like all parties, both Rocksteady and even Warner Brothers Games Montreal, are finding a way to either move away, in the case of Warner Brothers Montreal, or even reconfigure or reform the Arkhamverse with their game reveals that we saw at the DC Fandom event. So in the case of Warner Brothers Montreal, they went ahead and released their precious Gotham Knights game. It's a very solid revelation, by the way. I'm really stoked about the game and everything that I think the game is going to bring forward. And that their game reveal really did showcase exactly what they've been gunning for. A lot of the early rumors had stated that we were going to be seeing the Bat family. A lot of rumors had talked about some of the villains. And so we were seeing pretty much exactly what they said they were, what we heard that they were working on. And so this is exactly where I think, they are trying to go that direction, and they've made that choice. And I think they're going to excel in doing it. So that is their stance right now in bringing this Gotham Knights game. In the case of Rocksteady has decided to adapt in the Arkhamverse another game with the Suicide Squad and having the Justice League in it. So we're most likely going to be seeing some kind of an alternate universe, or even a timeline that's leading to the metropolis that they're trying to, depict in their game. So if you remember the Suicide Squad reveal, one of the very first things that you see is there's a big old stamp that says Metropolis. This stamp is pretty much saying, hey, this game is going to be taking place here. And, you see a big symbol of Brainiac, you see, Harley Quinn, and then you see Shark King and all the other, so-called super villains or anti-heroes or whatever you want to call them, that are going to be representing your players. And then, you kind of get a glimpse of what's going to be going on in the open world. We don't necessarily get too much of a plot that is unknown to us, other than the fact that we see Superman as a bad guy. And so Stephen Hill himself, in a Q&A after the reveal, did mention that they were setting the game in the Arkhamverse. What that means is there's going to be a plausible explanation as to when this game takes place in the context of Batman Arkham City, Batman Arkham Asylum, and Batman Arkham Knight. I don't know how they're going to pull it off. Perhaps they've been itching to do a Superman game. If you notice, even in Batman Arkham Knight, before the game closed off, they had all these clues that were pointing to Metropolis. I mean, they had LexCorp buildings. They had people talking about that freak in Metropolis on the thugs on the road. They were having these conversations and talking about these things. And you could tell that, there was a Superman theme going on in Rocksteady's mind. The only thing is they never really got to make it, into what I believe they wanted to make it to, because of the rumors we heard. How true they are regarding the fact that, or regarding the possibility that Rocksteady wanted to develop another Superman game, I don't really know. But there were these rumors that came out that said, Rocksteady had pitched a Superman game to Warner Brothers, but Warner Brothers did not want that to go forward. So I think they probably went and said, okay, but probably for a compromise in the middle ground, let's just make the Justice League the bad guys, and then let's bring the new idea of the Suicide Squad to life and merge them together. And I think with that kind of convergence, we're going to have in our hands a solid game. And so right now we're going to be receiving two games from DC Games, from two very good development studios. One of them is going to be taking, its roots from the Arkhamverse, and the other one is creating its own new timeline. And so I think if Warner Brothers Games Montreal is going to create a continuation of a video game, they're probably trying to build their own, timeline for these heroes and Gotham protectors, with Batgirl and Robin and Nightwing, and even the Red Hood himself. And so I think these are the heroes they want to focus on. And I also believe very strongly that Batman is going to still be in this game. I think a lot of people have jumped to conclusions, but when you look at some of the source material, you're going to pretty much see, the possibility of where Batman can come into play, especially with the villains, the Court of Owls. Now, it may not pan out to anything. It may just be that the Bat family is going to go after the Court of Owls because the writers of the game have decided to move that story in that direction. But at the same time, when you look at the way the source material goes, when you look at even from the gameplay reveal, when you look at even the villains, that the first villain that they even show, I think they are alluding a lot to how much they want to stay, in I would say in very, very close relation to the source material. Even though they're not going to exactly execute the source material like the comics did, they're going to put their spin and their own writing on things. But I think they're going to stay very close to that. And they're going to have their own endings, their own payoffs, and all of that. But I definitely see Batman showing up in this game. I definitely see him as, you know, a very, very fun, I would say, revelation in the way that they get him to come into the game. I think they're definitely going to have to put him in the game in order to have this huge payoff where it's discovered that he probably wasn't really dead, but because of the way he'd set up things, you know, there was a protocol for him to be able to, you know, reach out to the Bat family if anything went wrong. And so I'm very positive about all what's going on. I think, you know, the Arkhamverse, the fans of the Arkhamverse with the Batman games were probably heavily expecting that in the in these reveals, but necessarily haven't seen that. But at the same time, you know, I think after so many years, they were probably Rocksteady, most especially, having made 3 Arkham games, were probably itching to move away from you know, that development of Arkham games and all that stuff. So I don't really blame them. And then Warner Brothers Games Montreal also most likely were itching to move away from the Arkham games because they were all judged in light of Rocksteady's creation, where they didn't necessarily have too much creative control on what game they were making at the time in the in-between window between Arkham Knight and Arkham Origins. They were the studio that had to pretty much you know, make a game pending when Arkham Knight came out. And that game probably was a directive from Warner Brothers Games saying, go ahead and make an Arkham game and let Rocksteady develop Arkham Knight. So everyone wanting to depart from, you know, the Batman Arkham series is very, very reasonable. It's understandable because if you think about it, I mean, come on. You know, at some point, they had to kind of continue developing and following and pursuing a huge slew of storylines that are available in the Batman verse and in all the other DC superheroes. So this is something pretty cool, folks. I mean, they even talked about some really cool things like Flash in the Justice League game, in the Kill the Justice League game, Suicide Squad. And I think these are things that, you know, DC fans can be excited about. But because, you know, we haven't really gotten too much information, I hope they continue to showcase some, you know, some teases over the number of months or however, in some cases, years with the Suicide Squad game that they're going to be working on bringing this to the audience. So that's pretty much my take right now. I really want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. All of this information is basically very, very fresh on the minds and even on the lips or fingers of everybody that's talking and chatting about it. And I know eventually it's going to get reconciled because we got a tidbit. And I think Warner Brothers Games Montreal is now probably going to be in a place where they're going to be teasing more and more of this Gotham Knights game. And eventually, by the time the game comes out, we will understand exactly what the game is and we'll be very excited to play it. So that's it for me. I'm out of here. Thank you so much for your time and audience, and hopefully we'll see you in another video. Peace out.